Hi there, I'm Kirsty from Derbyshire Wildlife Trust and welcome to another Nature at Home video. I'm back at the Whistle Stop Centre again for this episode, and today we're thinking about how we can look after nature a little bit more. So the 5-way to wellbeing element that we're thinking about today is giving, so we're thinking about giving to nature in this case. And the pathway to nature connection is compassion. So how can we be a little bit more compassionate to the wildlife around us and on our doorstep? So I brought us outside today at the Whistle Stop Centre to show you a few ideas, and one of them is this pond here, which there's no hole in the ground, it's raised up off the ground and it's just a box filled with water and a few aquatic plants, and you can see it doesn't have to be very big to be beneficial to wildlife. So if you'd like to know more about whether you could add a little pond to your own garden using something like a bucket, you could have a look on the Derbyshire Wildlife Trust website and search for Team Wilder, and they've got instructions on how to make a pond in a pot. So you could add your very own mini pond to your garden. Well, in this episode we're going to be making some very easy wildlife friendly features, one of which is putting out bird food, so what's really good to feed the birds and how you can do it. And then the other thing we're going to be learning how to make is a little bug house using recycled materials. So both birds and creepy crawlies are really essential to the ecosystems of our gardens and green spaces. And creepy crawlies in particular, they're often a little bit forgotten about or a little bit unloved. Sometimes people aren't a huge fan of them, but it's really important that we look after them, and it's really easy to do so. So we'll be going into that a little later on. But the first thing that we're going to do today is put a little bit of bird food out for the birds around this area. To do that, you can either buy some bird food from a local shop, so you can get both bird seed and also versions of fat balls. So this particular one is just bird seed that has been squished up with some different fat, and that's designed to go in a bird feeder cage. So you can also buy the special bird feeders to hang on a tree, but if you haven't got one or you're not near a shop to get one, you could just put some bird food in any container. So I've just got like a old takeaway food container here, and I'm going to take the lid off and just use this tray. So you can see it's shallow enough that I'll be able to just put the seed in. The birds will be able to come and perch on the edge to get to the seed, and then I can just put this out somewhere in the garden for the birds to get to. So good places to position your seed is somewhere a little bit sheltered. So birds are very like humans, they just want to feel safe and sheltered. So if you can position it somewhere near some undergrowth like a tree or a hedge, so that they can dart in undercover and feel safe when they need to, and then they can pop out for the food, that would be a perfect spot. There are ground feeding birds, so you can just leave the tray on the ground like this, but you just need to be mindful of cats. So whether you have a pet cat yourself or if your neighbours have got cats that might be roaming around, if that is the case, you'll want to lift this up off the ground. So maybe if you've got a table that you could put it on, or if you've got a tree branch that you could balance it on, that would be perfect. If you want to make your own fat balls as well, what you can do is you're just going to take some seed. So you can either buy the special seed, or this is also a really good way to use up if you've ever bought any seeds and you haven't used them all to eat for yourself, and maybe they're a little bit old and you don't really want to eat them now. but the birds won't mind, so you can use them up and put them out for the birds. And a really easy way to make a fat ball is to just take those seeds from your cupboard or from the shop and mash them up with a bit of fat. So something like lard would work really well for that, and you would just take it into your hands, well, use it in a bowl, and then to give it a good squish up with your hands, you'll be able to take a little handful, form it into a ball, and then you'll have your own fat balls. But today I am just going to do the easy way. I'm going to set out this tray and see if we get any little birds visiting. There we go, the feeder is up out of the way there in the crook of that tree. So it's up off the ground and the birds have got plenty of cover in the ivy and the tree branches, so they can shelter when they need to, and then when they feel safe they can come down and feed whenever they want to. We have given something back to nature by putting that food out, but by doing that activity, nature could also give something back to us in the relaxation we can feel and the joy in just watching the birds on that feeder, knowing that we've helped them, and just watching their antics. They're really fun to watch. A bonus would be if you can put your bird feeder in a position so you can watch it from a window in your home. Don't forget that you can also put bird feeders out on balconies, or if you don't have any outside space at all, you can also now get bird feeders that have little suckers on and they stick to the outside of your window, so that you can look through and then the birds will come and feed on the other side of the glass. So you can sit really still on the other side and watch them really up close. If you have got somewhere to put a bird feeder out that you can see from the window, it can be a really good idea to keep some bird identification tools close to the window so you can see, if you want to, who is visiting you. So it might be a book, you can pick them up from charity shops, you could print a poster out or buy a poster, or we have also got some FSC guides here, which is Field Studies Council. These are quite cheap to pick up. And this one is the top 50 garden birds. So it just folds out and it's got all the different kind of birds on there. So you can just quickly look out, match the picture, and you'll know who's coming to visit. You might also have a pair of binoculars, so it doesn't matter if you don't, you can watch the birds without them really easily. But if you do have some knocking around somewhere, maybe they're put away somewhere, why not actually keep them out on a windowsill so that they're ready to go? If you spot a bird out the window, you can quickly grab the binoculars and have a closer look. And it just encourages you to even just take 1 or 2 minutes whenever you just have a moment to just watch the birds and see what they're up to. If you really don't feel that you could feed the birds in your own home, then don't worry, you could also go out and feed them elsewhere. And a great way to do this is to go off and feed the ducks. So feeding the ducks is fun for all ages, adults included, and all you need to do is find a local patch of water that you know that there are going to be some ducks, and then take some food with you and enjoy feeding them. You could even make a bit of an afternoon of it, maybe take your own lunch down and then take a little lunch for the ducks. So I'm going to head over to the kitchen with you now and I'll show you a really easy recipe to make a little picnic for the ducks. I'm over in the kitchen ready to make up a nice lunch for the ducks. Did you know that it's not actually very good to feed ducks bread? That is something to really avoid. Just like if humans ate bread all the time, it would be really bad for us. There's not a lot of nutrition in it for the ducks, but it fills them up so that they're not getting all the goodness that they really need because they're not eating other things. Instead, let's make them a really healthy, tasty snack. Some things that ducks really like to eat are peas, so you can use frozen peas. Just make sure that you've left them to defrost first. They enjoy sweet corn, so you can use frozen sweet corn or even out of a tin if you just drain it and then you can feed them that. They'll eat rice if you've got any cooked rice left over. They'll eat oats, birdseed of course, and also salad leaves like lettuce leaves. And if you have any lettuce leaves that are going a little bit wilty that you don't really want to eat yourself, the ducks again won't mind and they'll eat them up for you, so you could use those. So today I have some lettuce leaves out of my garden that some of them are a little bit wilty or they've been a little bit nibbled by insects, so I tend to choose the best leaves to eat, and then some of these might go into the compost. So instead I'll take these to feed the ducks this time. I've got some oats, so just oats that you might make porridge out of for breakfast, and again I've got a little bit more of that birdseed that we used earlier. And all I'm going to do is, I've got my lunch box for the ducks. I'm going to tear some of these leaves up into little bits. And often if you buy the lettuce bags from the supermarket, they can, can't they, when they've been in the fridge a couple of days, they're a little bit wilty, especially the leaves at the bottom. So this is a really good way to use those up. And I just have a few different variety of lettuce leaves in here. There we go, got those in. And I'm going to sprinkle with a few oats, a little bit of birdseed, and again you could just use seed that you've got left over in the kitchen. And that's it, I've got a nice box of duck food there, ready to go down and share my lunch with them. So I can just put it on and we're ready to go. We're back outside again, ready to make our bug house. And as I mentioned before, we're using recycled materials to do this. All you need to join in is a plastic bottle and some sticks. So I've just collected this bucket of sticks off the ground, which I'd recommend doing that, especially if it's been windy. That's a really good time to collect things. You don't need to cut anything unless something in your garden needs pruning anyway. May as well just let nature get on with what it does best at growing, and we can just harvest what it no longer needs. What we're going to start with for this activity is cutting our plastic bottle in half, so we're going to use the bottom bit to fill with sticks. And to do that, I find it's easiest if you take the lid off, make sure you drain any liquid, and then once the lid's off you can squeeze your bottle so you get a flatter edge to use your scissors to cut with. So you can just start your cut like that, pull it back straight again, and that's a bit easier to cut around. There we go. Don't worry if it's not too straight, it doesn't have to be perfect. The creepy crawlies won't mind in the slightest. And you can either leave your bottle like this, or if you want to, you could paint it or use tape to decorate it. So here's an example one with a smaller bottle that's been painted like a bumblebee. And as you can see, what we're going to do is fill the bottle with sticks, and then it's going to hang horizontally, so you will also need a bit of string along with your bottle. Or if you don't have string, you could just wedge it in the hedge, but it is easier if you can hang it with a bit of string. So once we've got our bug house cases, the base of them, all we need to do is fill it with sticks. So here I have, as I say, sticks that I've collected from the ground. You could also use garden canes, especially if you've got some old ones that are no good for supporting plants anymore. You can chop them up to use instead. And to do this, we're going to measure the stick against our bottle. And you want to make the stick slightly shorter than the bottle. So if you imagine when it's hanging, just like birds, the bugs like to be nice and sheltered. They want to stay dry in there. We're making them a home. So we don't want rain getting in there. If we have the stick sticking out like that, then if it rains, the water will trickle down that stick right into their home and it'll be all soggy and damp for them. So we want to make sure it's nice and dry. And if you've picked sticks off the ground, the added bonus is that they'll be nice and dry, so you'll be able to just snap them. And then you just place your sticks in your bottle like that, and then keep going till it's nice and full. Here is my bottle now filled up with sticks, so you want to make sure they're nice and tight in there, and as you can see, if I hold it to the side, there's none sticking out. And to hang it, as I said before, the easiest way is to use string, and I've just got 2 loops tied in this piece of string. So I've measured it around the bottle so that it just sits snugly over the bottle like that, either end, and that gives us the hanging loop in the middle. So when we hang it, rather than tipping it up like that, which again might catch the rain, we just want to make sure that we hang it pointing a tiny bit downwards. This is why you need to make sure that you've got your bottle nice and full of sticks so they don't all just slide out. So we'll hang it a tiny bit down like that. Hanging it about 1 metre from the ground is perfect. So let's head on back down to the wildlife area and get this new home in place. I found the perfect spot for the bottle bug house down here in the willow archway. It's close to these branches and the ivy leaves, so the creepy crawlies can find their way up the crevices to their new bottle bug home. So I hope this video has given you a couple of ideas of how you can give a little something extra to nature and show your compassion for the creatures around you. The bottle bug house is a little bit more advanced, but it's really easy. Next time you're at the shop, why not grab a bit of bird food, put it out and enjoy meeting your new feathered friends that'll come and flock to you and enjoy the food. As always, do let me know how you get on. Let me know what birds you see, or maybe even send us in some pictures of your completed bottle bug houses. That'd be great to see. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you again soon for another Nature at Home video. I'll see you there.